Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Do you dream of starting your very own podcast in 2024? Well, have I got exciting news for you. Black Friday is just around the corner and I've got a special offer you won't want to miss. Introducing my Black Friday deal on my core group program, Start Your Podcast. You asked, I listened, and for the first time ever, I'm offering a 5-payment plan option, making it more affordable than ever for you to join me in this podcasting journey. But that's not all. You will have the freedom to choose from 2 start dates in early 2024, ensuring that Start Your Podcast fits perfectly into your schedule. This is your opportunity to turn your podcasting dreams into reality. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity. Be sure to join my waitlist now to get early access to this exclusive Black Friday deal. Visit donnaeade.com/Black Friday 23. That's Black Friday lowercase or one word and the number 23. The waitlist is filling up fast and there are limited spots available, so get in quick. Get ready to make your podcasting dreams come true in 2024. Stay tuned for Black Friday when this incredible deal goes live. Get on the waitlist today at donnaeade.com/Black Friday 23. You're listening to the Mindset and Action podcast, bringing you the map to grow and streamline your business in 2023. I'm your host, Donna Eade, your go-to gal for all things podcasting, planning and productivity. And I'll be bringing you all that plus mindset goodness from experts with knowledge to share. Let's make 2023 the year of success in your business. Welcome back to the podcast and this Monday Mindset mini series. Now, have I said that exactly the same for all 4 episodes? I don't know, but this is episode 4 of the mini series. If you missed episode 1, 2, or 3, I will link them in the show notes. It doesn't really matter which order you listen to them in, so you can certainly go back after this episode and listen to them. In episode 1, we were talking about overcoming fear of judgment. In episode 2, we looked at procrastination and perfectionism. And in the last episode, last Monday, we looked at imposter syndrome. Today, we are going to be looking at something that is one of the things that really comes up a lot when I'm talking to people about podcasting, and that is time and resource constraints. So time and resource can be significant barriers to starting your podcast, and we will be discussing how to overcome those challenges and make your podcasting dreams a reality. So many people believe they need expensive equipment and lots of free time to start a podcast. And you may have heard through this series me talk about how I started my podcast. But if you missed it, I started my podcast with the headphones that came with my iPhone, you know, the plug-in into the jack headphones with the mic attached. That was how I started my podcast. I have always used Audacity to record my podcast. I use it on a PC, well, a laptop, but it's not Mac. So that's what I use, and I have used that throughout. And the only thing that I have done to upgrade my podcast is to invest in a dynamic microphone, which is something that I would highly suggest if you were going to make any purchase at all, that a dynamic microphone is the one that you go for. And I use the Samsung Q2U. I will link this in the show notes for you. It is around £70, but I am going to say, for me, I would say do it with your headphones, with your headphone mic for a few episodes. Get some episodes under your belt, feel comfortable with it, know that you enjoy it, know that you want to continue with it, and then upgrade. That's what I did. I wanted to make sure that it was something that I was committed to doing before I went and started spending money on equipment. So that would be my first thing, is start with what you have, because what you have is good enough to get started. Remember what we said about perfectionism in episode 2. Your first episodes aren't going to be flawless. They're not going to be fantastic. So the fact that the sound quality quality is not as great as it could be, isn't going to be too much of a big deal. Now, there are things that you can do to improve the sound quality with whatever microphone you've got. So there are things that you can do that are free to help you with that. But it's not something that you have to go and fork out a load of money on equipment to get started with. When it comes to the time commitment, this is one that is a real sticking point because it is not quick and easy to do a podcast. It can be easy and it can be quick, but the reality of it is you're recording something. It is likely that you might make some mistakes that you need to edit out, which means that you then need to go back through that episode and edit it before you can put it up. So there is a 2-step process with that. Now, granted, if you are doing what we were all taught in school when you wrote stories, you should be writing out a blog and then going back and going through and editing it. How many people actually do that with their blogs, I wonder? Because I don't think I ever did when I was blogging as a wedding photographer, that's for sure. Computers made it that you edit as you go and, probably take twice as long because of it. However, with a podcast, if there are mistakes being made and you need to correct them, that is another level of time that it's going to take for you to do your podcast. So you need to be realistic with your schedule and you need to look at it fitting in with your current commitments. Now, for me, one of the things that I do is I batch my podcast, and that really helps us to make sure that we are making the time for it. And that is something that I suggest you look at doing as well. Batching is definitely a lifesaver in that way. And then look at how often you're going to be actually putting your podcast out there. So I recommend a weekly podcast, but I don't recommend a weekly podcast for everyone. If you are somebody who is extremely time poor and you're somebody who maybe doesn't get as much enjoyment out of creating this kind of content as I do, and I would say that if you don't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it, but then you're not going to know unless you start and try it. But I absolutely love doing my podcast, so I enjoy spending time on it. However, if it is something that is a means to an end for you, you know the power of podcasting, you really want to have a podcast out there, but it is something that you're just like, it's a bit of a time suck for me, you have a couple of options. One, you can outsource the editing, and that will take that off the plate. So you only have to make the time to record. So that is an option for you. Obviously, you need to have a budget for that. If you don't, then batching is a really good way. So if you take a day to actually do the edits so that you can just get it all done and just plan that day for that purpose. The other thing you can do is create a serial podcast. So rather than doing one every week of the year, you do one a week for a set number of weeks and then you take a break. So with a serial podcast, it is often geared towards having some sort of theme or overarching project that you're working on when you're doing it. So a lot of serial podcasts happen in the true crime space, for example, where they will tell a true crime story, but they will tell it over 10, 12 episodes that are dropping weekly. So you're learning about the in-depth parts of this story through that podcast. Or you might do it, for example, I always use the health industry as an example because it's a really easy one to do it for. But if you were going to do a podcast in the health and wellness space, you might do a series on sugar. And you might have 8 to 10 episodes that cover lots of different things, lots of different viewpoints, lots of different doctors' opinions on sugar and how you incorporate it into your diet and what we should do to reduce it. So you could have lots of different episodes all around sugar, and you could do a series on that. And then you take a break and then you come back for a second series. Now, there is a difference to me for promoting and keeping your audience engaged when your podcast isn't coming out with new episodes, but it can be done. And that is a way to reduce the amount of time, because if you do 8 weeks on and 8 weeks off, then you've only got like half of the year where you've got podcasts coming out. And you don't take all of that time to do the podcast. You can take a couple of days to edit, a couple of days to record, and then that's it for, 16 weeks. So there are ways around building it into the time that you have. Don't let time and resource constraints be the excuse for not starting your podcast. With proper planning, which is something that I love, and commitment to consistency, you can successfully share your message with the world. So thank you so much for joining me for this Monday Mindset mini series. Remember that mindset is a crucial factor in your journey to podcasting. Overcoming these common barriers will help you to launch your own podcast and do it well. So make sure that if you have missed any of them, you go back and listen to the other episodes. I have absolutely loved doing this series for you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on Instagram, Donna_Eade_. You can find me there. Find me over in our group on Facebook, which is Start a Podcast. You can come and find me over there. So it is Cyber Monday today, guys, and on Friday I released my Black Friday deal on my Start a Podcast program. So if you are at all interested in coming and joining me to get your podcast started, then I definitely recommend that you check out that deal. There is an option to secure the early bird price that I have only had in this year. The price is going up in January. You won't be able to get it for this price come 2024. So if you want to secure today's price of $777 or our 5-pay option, I normally only do a 3-pay option. So if you want to secure the 5-pay option, then jump on this Black Friday deal and choose one of my cohort dates for January or February next year. And we will get your podcast started in the first quarter of 2024. I am so excited to help you on your journey. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. I am there to help. So that is it for this mini series. Thank you so much for listening in, and I will see you in another episode very soon. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.